The most powerful stories come from the ones we see every day. Not every journey is loud. Some are quiet, raw, and still changing lives. This is Unformed, where real stories unfold. Hello, this is Hiba, and welcome to this episode of Unformed. My guest today is Dawn Racquel, a strength and fitness coach and the founder of Moxie Menopause. It's an online coaching program dedicated to helping women through pre, peri, and post-menopause. I'm really excited to have her on the podcast because Dawn brings such a refreshing, empowering approach to this topic. Her energy is full of life, and her perspective on the body, aging, and strength is so positive and grounded. Not in the typical bounce-back way we often hear, but in a way that truly respects what women are going through. We talk about how to train during menopause, the science behind what actually happens in the body of a woman, and how women can shift their mindset and routine to feel strong and confident again at any age. Her outlook is the kind of energy we all need more of. So let's jump in. Hello, Dawn. I'm very happy to have you in the studio with me today.
Thank you so much. I feel very honored to be here.
I would like to start, before talking about all things strength coaching, why did you call the page Moxie Menopause? And you're very passionate about it. Can you take us through all the background story?
Sure. So Moxie is actually an American colloquial, so an American slang. She's got moxie. It means that she has a resilient strength. You knock her down, she'll just get right back up and keep going. And there's no better way to describe a woman who's going through menopause than that, because we really just have no choice but to get up and keep going. The kids need to be taken care of. Our careers need to be attended to. A lot of things are weighing on a woman's shoulders. And so we don't have time to slow down. And that's actually what causes a lot of our issues. But Moxie is we get knocked down, we get right back up. And so that's the spirit of Moxie Menopause. And to get women to embrace menopause, and rather than see it as something to be feared or something to dread, it's actually we're moving into our power era.
You called it all the time on social the power era, but this doesn't really fit with how we were taught about the woman's body, because we were always taught that as the woman ages, her body doesn't function properly anymore. And when I look at all the content that you do, and when I see you at the gym, I go like, wow, like how can I be as strong as her? So how do you see the difference between what we were taught and how you see menopause at the moment?
The thing is that a lot of people think that when we go into menopause, we've become elderly. Elderly isn't until we're like 70, 80 years old. I'm now turning 50 this year. So I have a good 20, maybe 30 years until I actually enter into quote unquote elderly years. Menopause is not becoming elderly. What menopause is that I'm moving out of my fertility stage of my life. So there's many stages in a woman's life. There's childhood. Then we go through puberty and we become a teenager. Then we go into our fertile years. We become mothers, some of us. And then now I'm moving out of my fertility years. But that doesn't mean that I'm redundant. That doesn't mean that I'm somehow less. That doesn't mean that I'm not a woman anymore. And that doesn't mean that I don't have any significance. In fact, I find now that I have more energy than ever, because the energy that used to go into my cycle is now still with me, but not being used in my cycle.
So you feel more powerful.
Absolutely. And the thing is like, if you look in a lot of cultures, a woman who becomes older and comes into this stage, she actually gets elevated into a new state within the community, within the society, where she is seen as like the grandmother. She is the wise woman. She is, she can become the head of the tribe. So that doesn't mean that she's not insignificant. In fact, she embraces her wisdom and she embraces her power. So it's not something to be afraid of at all. Menopause is not the end. It's only just the beginning. And
this is a great way to put it, because we always have this fear of, oh, she's reaching menopause age, because of all the things that we hear and the things that we hear about women's body, and even the way that we treat our bodies, and the way they tell us about it in our 20s as well. Like we were just talking about how we were always told that you go to the gym and you do cardio because you need to shrink. You need to be thin. You need to take less space.
Right. Become smaller, become quieter, become sweeter. And I feel like menopause, because I'm losing those fertility hormones that just naturally make me more nurturing. It doesn't mean that I'm not nurturing and caring, but I kind of just stop caring as much. And I don't care if I make you angry because I'm enjoying my time and I'm becoming louder and I've embraced my voice, then that's too bad for you. But that's not a me problem. Yeah.
That's a very good way to put it. And I think that even in the 20s and 30s, women should learn how to deal with things like that, that you're taking more space, you're being more you, you're being more comfortable with the body that you are in, and more of embracing the power of your body.
Right.
Why did you choose, or what is the significance of strength for women? Because when I started working out, I went to the gym obviously because first I wanted to lose weight, and I was at a very low level in my life. And I was at the verge of giving up on everything because it's more like a rock bottom. And when I started working out, I didn't know where to start, but I knew that I had to go for cardio because I'm a girl. And I didn't want to look like a man. And when I started training with Reese and the first thing he did, he was like, okay, we need to go to weights. And I started posting some clips for me on Instagram, and a lot of people reached out and they were like, it's nice, but you need to take care. And mind you, these people were nothing close to like a fitness instructor or like people that go to the gym or who go to the gym. So I was always reached out to in the sense of like, take care. You might end up looking really like a man, or you might end up being really big. You need to be smaller, not bigger. You need to take care of that. And then when I started learning more about it, and I'm like, my God, every woman should go lift. Every woman should walk in the gym and go straight to weights.
Yep.
And then cardio should be something that you do along with weights.
Right.
For more cardiovascular health.
Yes.
What is your view on this point, since you're always at the weight section?
Well, I started lifting weights about, I would say, 10, 11 years ago, and just fell in love with the process, really, is what it was. And as I've gone through menopause, so I'm now post-menopause by a year. So menopause is when you go without a period for 1 full year. And so I'm 1 year past that. So it's been 2 years since I've had a cycle. And leading up to that end point of my fertility era, I noticed a significant change in my body. So I was lifting weights and I loved it. But then I noticed that even though I was going to the gym 5-6 days a week, I noticed that there was a change in my body, and I was actually losing muscle and gaining fat because I wasn't lifting in a way that made sense to my new system anymore. The thing is that with strength training, it really addresses a lot of the issues that we face when we lose estradiol and progesterone specifically. We still have testosterone, which is great. But we lose those two main ones, and we don't realize it. It wasn't until actually I started studying menopause for myself. I actually made myself my first client because I wanted to understand what was going on. Everything was changing, and I didn't understand why. I was gaining fat, and I was like, well, I guess I'm going to have to go and do endless amounts of cardio, which is exactly the wrong thing to do. But as I studied, I didn't realize how much estradiol and progesterone are intrinsically important to so many systems in our bodies. It's not just the egg and the cycle. Estradiol is a precursor to serotonin, which is the happy hormone in the brain. It protects our muscle, and it also builds muscle. It helps with bone density. It helps with how our liver detoxes. It helps with gut health, like so many parts of our body, estradiol is an intrinsic part of those systems. And once we start losing estradiol, well, actually through when we're going through perimenopause, we go through mad spikes of estradiol because we're losing progesterone. And then estradiol just spikes and crashes and spikes and crashes. And this is where we get all of this like kind of craziness from. But when we get out of that transition part, so now I have no estradiol. The last time I did a blood work test, I think my level was 2. But that's what's supposed to happen. I'm supposed to get to a place where I lose these hormones, but these hormones aren't there protecting me anymore and doing all of these things in the background. They're not my backup system any longer. That doesn't mean that those things can't happen in my system anymore, but I have to be proactive about it. And strength training is a big part of being proactive about that. So without estradiol and progesterone, I'm at risk of osteoporosis. I can lose the density of my bones.
I really love how you put it. You said this is what is supposed to happen. So it's not like my body stopped functioning.
Right.
My body is supposed to function that way. So
Yes.
it's meant to go through those phases, and I am right where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
I'm not functioning, or
Right.
I'm not less or
Right.
deficient. I'm just someone who is going through life
Yes.
the way how it's supposed to be. Let's say.
Exactly.
Yes, let's talk about bone density. I came across the other day an article that says that women, when they are, I guess it also applies to men, but I was researching women specifically, and the effect of fitness on bone or strength training more on bone density. And I came across this article that talks about how women through her life, we chew our bones and the bones grow back again. So we create new bones, let's say. And as we chew some of our bones, we recreate. So the bones that we have at this stage of life are not the same bones that we had when we were first born. And it hit me like, I never thought about it like that.
Right. It's a constant process of breaking it down and rebuilding it, breaking it down and rebuilding it.
Exactly. And in my mind, it was all the time like when I was born, I was having smaller bones and the bones are growing bigger. But I never thought that I'm actually recreating the bones constantly.
Right.
And the idea that as we age, the process of recreating bones, maybe it might still be the same, but we're chewing the bones much faster.
Exactly.
What is the effect of strength training on this? Because everyone always links strength training with bone density.
Right. Yes, because of the load bearing. So the load bearing actually causes the bones to respond and grow because they're responding to the load that has been placed on them. Then they have to get stronger. Our bodies are very smart. They're not dumb. So they're going to respond to what we do. What's happening in menopause is that we actually move out of a place where a lot of this stuff is happening automatically. And now I need to be proactive about it and make it happen. If I don't make it happen, it's not going to happen because those hormones aren't there to make it happen. So now strength training is very important. We lose muscle at a rapid rate after menopause. It's about 3% a year if we're not doing something about it. And I have noticed in my own journey, because I watch very closely, I have a scale at home that shows me what my muscle mass is and everything. And if I take a week off the gym, I lose a significant amount of muscle. That didn't happen when I had estradiol and progesterone protecting that muscle. So I need to do things in a certain way that protects my muscle and helps to build the muscle. And also speaking back to women are afraid of doing strength training because they're afraid they're going to look like a man. It takes so much work. Like I fight for every ounce of muscle. So if you're afraid of looking like, it's just not going to happen because women don't build muscle the same way that men do. It just doesn't happen. But it's as important for us to have that muscle mass in order to maintain our metabolism. So that's another misnomer, is that, when we go into menopause, as we get older, our metabolism decreases. That's absolutely not true.
So that's not true.
It's not true. You don't actually see a significant drop in metabolism until you get into your 60s. But the reason why there is a decrease in metabolism, say, it's because the muscle mass starts decreasing. The more muscle mass that you have, the more that you will burn fat during a workout. And because women burn fat during workouts, that's our fuel source. Men burn carbs, women burn fat. So the more muscle that we have, the more fat we're going to burn during a workout. If we have more muscle, then we are going to burn more calories just by existing. So at my current muscle mass amount, when I lay on the couch, I could just lay there all day and not do anything. And just by existing, I burn over 1,500 calories. So the more muscle that you have, the more calorie expenditure there will be. So then it will be easier to retransform your body and have that recomposition, which is what we talk about when we change fat. And it's not changing fat into muscle, but we're burning off fat, we're building more muscle, and then the body recomposes. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we have a leaner, tighter, toned look. And that's what a lot of women are looking for. When we do lots and lots of cardio, maybe you burn a lot of those calories off and you become a certain size that you think is going to look really good. And a lot of women are fixated on a number. Like fixated on a number on the scale. If I just get to this number, if I just get to 58 kilos.
I'd look perfect.
If I just get to 58 kilos, I don't know what it is about 58 kilos, but I've had so many clients, 58 kilos, I want that. And, but then they get there and they're like, but I don't look the way that I expected that I was going to look. This is because they don't have the muscle. The muscle is what gives shape. So that's where the strength training comes in, regardless if you're in menopause or not. It also deals with mental health, so brain function. And when we do workouts, the serotonin is just going to naturally increase for everybody. Men, women, doesn't matter what age, you do some sort of physical activity, the serotonin production in your brain is going to increase. Women in menopause, as we go through menopause, we actually lose our serotonin production. Not that it's completely tanked, but estradiol used to be a precursor to serotonin production. So if we don't have serotonin there, just naturally making us happy in the background, we have to do something about it. And this is also why, like, I feel so passionate about this subject, because my age group, the age group of 45 to 54, is among women, the highest rate of suicide among women is in this age group. Because of these kinds of things, you have to think about what's going on in a woman's life and then also what's going on in a woman's body. And we're so confused and we don't understand what's happening. And we feel like we're losing ourselves. Marriages probably just start disintegrating at that time.
Because you're not feeling yourself anymore.
Exactly, right. Because, and we do think that we're broken. Because we feel broken, but we're not broken. We have to understand what our system is doing now and what it isn't doing now, and what we can do proactively in order to make those things happen. Strength training is one of those things that it will deal with the bone density, it deals with the muscle mass, it deals with gut health, it deals with the brain health, and also mental health as well.
When you're talking about the way that the body is shifting, you always mention we need to be more proactive. Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that?
I mean that estradiol and progesterone used to do things for us automatically in the background, help us build muscle. So that's why we could go to Pilates and yoga and build muscle in our 20s and our 30s. And all of a sudden in our 40s and our 50s, we don't build muscle the same way with those same activities. Not saying that those activities are not beneficial. What I'm saying is that they're not good for muscle growth because we no longer have the hormones that would do those things for us and help us out. They're like our little helpmates. Our little helpmates have left. Now, we can make those things still happen in our body, but we need to be proactive about it. Now,
so we need to walk in the gym consciously, wanting to build muscle, because we know that eventually we need to do more work to get that done, but it's not impossible. So
it's not impossible. No, but we have to be proactive about it. We have to know what it is that we're doing. We have to start shifting the way that we're doing weights as well. So a lot of women like to do little itty bitty weights, like the pink ones or the light green ones, and do 15 to 20 reps. That no longer works for the menopausal system because, again, our bodies are changing. Estradiol used to do things in the muscle that would help with that muscle contraction, with helping with muscle building. Now, all of a sudden, that's not there. So that's not happening. So now I need to start lifting weights in a different way in order to create that same reaction that used to happen automatically.
I feel as well that it has a lot to do with the view of what are the weights for women and what are the weights for men.
All of the weights are for women.
Yeah, and a lot of the workouts, they always say, like, if you're a man, you start with this. If you're a woman, you start with this. But sometimes I find myself like, this is way too light for me. Yeah. Like, I go and I pick up a man's weight, or even sometimes higher. A man's weight. But can you tell us about the strength? Because I know that you're super strong. You're incredibly strong. Mm-hmm. How does the strength of women, let's say, progress through life? And is it really that women become weaker as they grow older?
Mm-mm. I'm lifting more now at nearly 50 than I ever did in my 30s and in my 40s. So I just recently got my 1 PR max for deadlift, 140 kg. So I'm pretty excited about that. And that was a big goal of mine for a couple of years. And it took me a while to strength build up to the place where I could do that safely. Because that's also another thing. I don't want to just do things because of ego. I want to do things because I'm actually strong. I'm able to do it properly with a proper form. And so it's a lot of back and forth. It took me a long time to get there, but I'm stronger now than I've ever been in my life. But it's interesting because I remember thinking at one point, because I fell in love with the process of strength training, because you just go away. It's slow, it's methodical, it's systematic. You go in with a plan. I keep meticulous track of what weights I did. I even sometimes write little notes about this is how it felt on the last rep. Next time, stop being a little baby and go up. You know, I keep very clear track of what it is I'm doing. It's called progressive overload. So I'm constantly, sometimes it's little steps back, but I'm always kind of moving forward. It's just this progressive overload, and I fall in love with the process of getting stronger. And then I just keep getting stronger. And it's also a mindset thing, like what you were talking about with Reese. And it's just, there's no such thing as a man's weight. And in fact, if I see a man doing something, I'm like, pretty sure I could do that and better. You know what I mean? It actually challenges me because I'm going to rise up. And people do look at me and say, oh, you're so strong. You're so strong. I'm like, yeah, I am so strong, but that's because I've progressively been putting in the work with consistency. That's another word that I just love. I love proactive. I love that word. And I love the word consistency. So I'm proactively consistent. I go into the gym with my plan because I know that this plan is going to get my body to do the things that I want it to do tomorrow. I'm not reacting any longer to the past. I'm now building effectively and proactively into my future because I want my 70-year-old, my 80-year-old, and my 90-year-old self to be functioning in life independently. I don't want to be sickly. I don't want to be weak. I refuse to accept that this is my weak era. It is not. This is my power era. But it doesn't just happen. I have to take hold of that and embrace it. So I've embraced my new system. I've embraced this system. I understand what hormones used to do for me, what they don't do for me anymore. And I'm taking responsibility now for the things that I want to have happen. It's not just going to happen automatically. So I have to be very proactive. I have to be very consistent. I go into the gym, and every week, every day, every training block, I'm somehow trying to level up just a little bit more. And again, with safety. And so then that's why I'm not looking at this going, okay, so this is going to be a 6-week transformation. No, this is my life now. This is what I do. And I've been doing it for already 10 years. And I love the process. I really do. And I think that we've spoken of this before, that, you know, we go in and we have this goal of wanting to lose fat, because that's also why I walked into the gym. Nobody walks into the gym looking like a bodybuilder. Everybody has a first day. And that's the thing, right? We all go in, we're all newbies at some point, and we go in wanting to lose that fat. But if we go in wanting to transform our bodies and we keep looking at ourselves in the mirror after every single workout, we're not going to see any change. But if instead you fall in love with the process, and you know that last week when you did shoulders, you only did 3 kg with this one movement, but this week you went up to 4 kg. That's so exciting.
And it's incredible in weightlifting how it gives you that happiness. You're somehow very proud of yourself.
Absolutely.
Because you go like, wow, I wasn't able to do this 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And it has a lot to do with the confidence as well that we get in the gym.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of the times when I'm afraid to do something and I really want to do it, or I want to learn how to do it, I know that I'm going to suck at it at the beginning. It's going to be really bad.
Yeah.
And the way that I trying to tweak it in my mind that, okay, I'm going for my before and then I'm going to watch my after later. So I'm walking in the class as a before.
Yeah.
So I will take the content as a before and I put the camera in and I look at the before. I watch myself do it wrong. I go like, okay, this is going to be my before. And then after a couple of weeks, I check my after and I go like, wow, if I didn't have the before, I wouldn't have the after anyway. Right. So you put it really nicely when you say that we are walking in the gym and nobody walked in the gym as a bodybuilder.
Right.
So you get in the gym, you learn, and you learn to progress as well and embrace that progress. When women come to you, especially when they're trying to get into strength training, a lot of them, they don't really understand how strong they are.
Yeah.
And what is your role? Or what is because I can see that there's like there's
a passion.
Yes.
Yeah, it burns deep
like
down in my soul.
You really light up when you talk about how strong women can be.
Women are notorious for underestimating how strong they are. We often deflect. We often outsource our strength. Or not outsource, but we give our strength to our children, to our families, to our communities, to our career. We give that strength out. We don't realize that that's actually our strength that we're giving out. And we don't realize how strong we actually are because we're constantly feeding it out. We're the life givers. And it always happens when I'm training a woman and she catches how strong she is. I can see it in her eyes. It's a thing. It's a thing that happens. And I'm like, there it is. Mama's feeling herself today. Yeah. And often it happens in some sort of chest press exercise because I think women think, oh, I'm not strong. Like my upper body is not strong. I can't press very much. And it usually happens then that she'll be like, oh, wow, I'm a lot stronger than I thought I was. And I'm like, yes, you are. You're much stronger than you think that you are. We carry so much. We carry so much and we underestimate ourselves. We don't give ourselves enough credit. And then we walk into the gym and we think that there's girls' weights and then there's boys' weights. And there's not. Women build muscle the same way that men do. Men build muscle the same way that women do.
Wow.
And it's happened to me, and I will say, not that I like to shame men, let's not say that, but it does tickle me when I'm in the gym and a man says, oh, you're putting me to shame. And I'm like, well then, lift heavier weights. I don't know what to tell you because I'm not doing it to shame a man, but
We've been told that. We've been told that a man would always pick more weights than you.
Right.
So when you're there in the gym and you're like lifting more weights, you're like, I'm not in a competition. I'm not trying to lift more than, I'm just trying to explore my strength.
Yes.
I'm trying to explore how strong I am.
I am, yes.
And everyone has a start, as you said.
Yep.
So it's not really who lifts more.
Right.
It's more about I'm trying to reach my maximum potential.
Yes.
And this is the beauty of it.
Right. And as long as I have been training, because I've been training for a long time, I still underestimate my own strength. This is what I love about Instagram. I have a love-hate relationship with social media because, we can sometimes get caught into comparison. So we're comparing ourselves rather than being inspired by. But I like it because I have been inspired by other women and I've seen them lifting, what we think of as astronomical weight. And I think, I wonder if I can do that. And then I make that one of my goals. I want it. So that's why I made it one of my goals a couple of years ago. I was like, I want to get to 140 kg deadlift. I can't remember where it came from. It was, I think somebody had posted something on, you're an elite athlete if you can deadlift double your body weight. And then I was like, I'm going to do that. And it took me some time to get there. But then that became my training goal. Then all of my training, every time I went into the gym, my upper body workouts, my lower body workouts, everything was geared towards getting me to that goal because that was now my goal. This is what I love doing. I love setting a goal and saying, I'm going to do this. I never say I'm going to go in and lose fat because you're going to lose fat if you watch your nutrition. That's just going to be that. But I like to chase this. I like to chase the strength. And then because I fall in love with the process of chasing that strength, the aesthetics follow. So if I keep looking in the weight, I do a bunch of things, some bicep curls, and then I stand and I go, there's nothing. But if I go week, after a few months, I'm going to all of a sudden start seeing some difference because it does take time and patience for that muscle to grow.
And there's something so satisfying about building muscle.
Absolutely. So satisfying. And like you said, it affects your confidence, which then translates outside of the gym. All of a sudden now those projects, those things that you wanted to chase after, whatever it is, you're like, I can do that because I did this.
Strong.
Absolutely.
You feel strong in everything you do.
Yeah.
When
you carry yourself differently.
Yes.
You walk differently. You walk into a room and you're like, don't mess with me.
Yeah.
Because I just hit a PR in the gym, so you can't touch me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When I first started training, I started training upper body, and of course, because always women, they're most likely to have stronger lower body at the beginning than upper body. When I started training my upper body, my hands were so wiggly. There was almost no, very little muscle. And then when I was sitting once after, of course, months of training with Reese, I was sitting once in the office and I did this. And I'm like,
what is
here's
that?
a muscle. And there's something so satisfactory about this because it makes you feel like, I'm really getting stronger.
Yeah.
So now I can touch my muscles, so I can pick things up, you know what I mean, much easier. And you feel this sense of achievement or this pride that this is an accumulation of all the sessions that I really didn't want to attend at the gym.
Right.
I still picked myself up no matter what was happening, and I took my things and I went to the gym.
Yeah.
And you feel strong because this is something that is earned.
Right.
Like, nobody gives this to you.
No.
Nobody would tell you, I was the reason why you have muscle.
Yeah.
Like, no, I did
You're
this.
the reason that you have muscle.
Yes. I did this all by myself.
Yes.
And every single time I go to the gym or I have a gym session early in the morning, because it's easier for me to have a session early in the morning because I have a very demanding job. Sometimes I don't want to wake up. I don't want to go to the gym.
Right.
And I just wake up with the alarm. I sit on the side of the bed and I go like, oh my God, like I can't make it today. And then I remember that I'm not doing this for anyone.
Right.
This is my time.
Yeah.
I go to the gym because I know how strong I can be. And I go to the gym, I'm feeling really bad. I walk out of the gym, I feel like I conquered the world today. And there's this amazing feeling about it. And I think if you don't do it, you wouldn't understand how amazing it is.
Right.
Unless you pick yourself up and go to the gym day after day and you understand the addiction.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people come to me and they go like, what is so satisfying about sled push? And I go like, you don't understand. Yeah. And at some point, I was training for high rocks and we had to do sled push and sled pull. And Dries was adding the weights constantly. And we didn't, because they got a new equipment for the high rocks, we didn't realize that the sled itself, the empty one, was 50.
Oh.
So we were adding up. We thought it was 100, 107. And I pushed it. And then the next day he came, he told me, mate, like actually, this was 50. So you sled pushed 150.
Wow.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
He told me, I'm like, I can do that? He told me, if I told you that it was 150, you would tell me, no, it's not doable, and you wouldn't do it.
Right, because your mind would have stopped you first.
Yes.
Your body was actually able to do it.
The importance of you believing that you can do things is far more important than you doing the actual weight.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
And then for the fun of it, now I was telling Reese, like, can you stand on the sled so I can try to do It's crazy. How it is.
Yeah. But I think it's really important, just touching on what you said there about how you wake up in the morning and you say, it's my time. I schedule in my gym time, my strength session is so important to me. I schedule it in to my day. So I have certain times a day that I like working out. I don't like working out in the evening. I don't have enough energy. I really am my name. So Dawn is the rising of the sun. And I really do get a lot of my energy at the beginning of the day. And soon as the sun sets, so do I. Like, that's it. I'm out. Like, I can't do any strength sessions in the evening. I've tried before to do strength sessions in the evening. I just can't. So even like today coming here, usually around this time is when I would be training in the gym. But we have this podcast scheduled. This is also important to me. But more important to me was my strength session. So I woke up at 4:00 this morning, and last night before I went to bed, I packed everything that I needed to have at the gym because I know what I'm like. I'll forget stuff. So I had everything packed. I had my protein shake ready. I even stopped eating at 5 p.m. because I knew that I wanted to have my first meal on my way to the gym, which is my protein shake. And I need to have enough time for me to, because I like to do a 13-hour fast. So from the last time I eat to the first time that I eat. So I also had to adjust from yesterday when my last meal was in preparation for today, because I knew that I wanted to do my strength session, and I wanted to do my strength session with power. And I needed to power myself up. So in order to do that, I needed to eat at 6:00 in the morning. In order to do that, I had to stop eating at 5. So I had to plan everything actually from yesterday. But because it's a priority for me and it's a non-negotiable, I will not stop strength training ever, because it improves my life on so many levels. And I love the process of it. I love how every week I go in and I get stronger. Every week I go in and I either get stronger by increasing the weights, or I get stronger by improving my form. All of a sudden I'm executing the movement with so much more precision with that previous weight that used to make me go all wobbly. All of a sudden now I'm doing it either like a deeper squat or with more stability or something, because that's also progression. So you take note of those things, and then that you start chasing that, and everything else starts to follow. But it has to first start as, this is a non-negotiable priority for me. As important as it is, if I was, say, going to make an appointment with a lawyer and I have some sort of issue in my life and I need to see a lawyer, I'm not going to wake up in the morning and go, I don't feel like going to see a lawyer. You know, who really wants to go and see a lawyer? Really, honestly. It's usually when we have something, you don't go in and just hang out with a lawyer and have a good time. It's usually because you have some sort of difficulty in your life, but you make it a priority because you need to make these other things in your life go easier, so much more smoothly. And you can't do it on your own, so you have to go and see the lawyer. That's the gym for me. Yep. My strength sessions are my lawyer appointment for myself. I put myself in my calendar.
And I feel that there's a satisfaction of taking control of your body.
Yep.
So when you're saying that you're progressing in different movements, it's like you're taking back the control. You're not letting your body do its thing.
Right.
You're taking control back, and you're saying, okay, I'm going to make sure that I will train enough that I decide how strong I can be. I decide how low my squats can go.
Right.
I decide if I'm going to increase the weights or if I'm going to decrease. Yes, listening to the body is a thing, of course, and I really believe in it. But also pushing your body is another thing that we don't embrace enough as women.
Right. So looking back, I didn't know I was going through perimenopause. And when I was going through perimenopause, that was before, like now menopause is the hot ticket. Like everybody's talking about it and everybody's slapping the name menopause on anything and trying to market it. And this is menopause. But when I started going through perimenopause, say I guess it would be about 9 years ago now, because I went through it 7 years and now I'm 2 years past. So say 9 years ago, I started going through it. I remember I made a rule with myself, because as I went through perimenopause, my cycles became more irregular. And so there were many times that I was like, I feel like it's about to start any second now. Like in the next 30 seconds, it's going to start. And it used to be that I'd be like, oh, well, then I just won't go to the gym today because it's about to start. But I started making a rule with myself because I had started doing that and then it wouldn't come. And so I hadn't gone to the gym that day because I thought it was going to start. And then the next day, it still felt like it was going to start. And I didn't go because, it's going to start any minute now. So I should, you need to give yourself a break. It's your cycle. You give yourself a break. And then I didn't go that day. And then I started making a rule. If it hasn't actually officially started, then you go to the gym until you see that it's actually officially started. And then for that first day, you're allowed to not go. But day 2, day 3, you go back into the gym. And what I noticed was so many times I didn't want to work out when I first walked into the gym. Even taking out the garbage was too much of an emotional task. It just felt heavy, let alone everything else that I had to do that day. But I went into the gym and I got my strength training done. And by the end of the session, I felt so good and I felt so powerful because those cytokines are being pumped out into my system. All of a sudden, serotonin is starting to pump into my brain. I'm getting all of this stuff. Bloating starts going down because actually strength training helps with our gut issues. Because of the heat that's created in the body, it actually helps to level out the gut microbiome. So I would go in and all of a sudden I'm starting to feel a bit better. My mind is feeling better. And now I'm not only can I take out that garbage, but I can crush that, and that on my to-do list. All of a sudden I can do everything. Next morning, same thing. I don't feel like doing it. Okay, and it feels like it's going to start any second. Okay, but it hasn't started, so you have to go. And that I made it a non-negotiable. I basically became my own mom. I was like, listen, you need to go in, because I knew how disappointed I would feel if I didn't go in and it hadn't started. You know what I mean? So
it's like you're keeping the promise to yourself, or you're keeping that system that I don't say that I'm going to go and I don't go.
Right.
If I'm going to go, I need to go.
Right. And so I really feel like a lot of the symptoms of perimenopause were mitigated, and they can be mitigated through strength training and nutrition and various things. Those symptoms can be mitigated and lessened. When I say mitigated, like lessened, through these choices. And I really count my strength training as being the reason why I didn't suffer as badly in perimenopause as I've heard some other people do. And I really think it's because of the strength training.
Mm-hmm. Talking about nutrition, and you just mentioned that you try to maintain a 13-hour fast. Mm-hmm. I know that you did observe Ramadan this year. Was it?
Yes, I did. It was my first time. I've lived in the UAE for 13 years. I've always loved Ramadan. I've loved the spirit of it. I like how it just, everything, just the feel even of the air. You just feel a different feeling during Ramadan. It's like this community. I loved it, but I had never participated in the fast. And I was actually challenged by somebody very close to me. And then she sort of shamed me into it. She said, my 7-year-old niece has started fasting. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll try it. I'll try it then. Because I had said to her, I'm so afraid. Actually, it's not the food that I'm afraid of. It's the not drinking water that I was really frightened of. And so I tried it for one day, but I didn't strength train that day because I didn't know what it was going to be like. So I didn't strength train that day. And then the next day, I sort of by accident just kept fasting. Like I had woken up in the morning. At the time, I was taking care of my friend's dog. So I took the dog out for a walk. And then by the time I got back, it was like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I still hadn't had a morning coffee, and I hadn't had even a sip of water. And I was like, well, should I just do another fast today? Like, should I do it again today, but also try it with the strength training, like see what happens? Because I've coached women through Ramadan before, theoretically, with the science in mind, but never by experience. And so I was like, well, maybe just try one day and see what it's like to break your fast around the strength training. So then, because then it got to about 11 o'clock, and I kept going back and forth, like, 8:30. And then every time I went to the coffee machine to get my first coffee, I was like, maybe not. And then I got to 11, I was like, okay, khalas. I'll just do it today for the second day, just second day.
So you delayed your strength training until iftar time? Until
iftar time, yeah. So then what I did is I would go in and do my mobility, and then I would break my fast at the iftar time, and then I would continue with my strength training for the hour after iftar, and then I would go home and eat my bigger meal. But I had my laban and my date and a cup of coffee, and then just loads of water, which, oh my gosh, there's nothing like it. That feeling when you have nice cold water after not having had it for so long, it feels so nice.
You appreciate water differently.
And I got addicted to that feeling. And I was like, I want to do that again. Well, I can't tell you how strong I felt in that strength session. And then I was sold. I was like, I'm doing this for the rest of the month. I just think this is amazing. And then that's when it was during that month that I hit my 200 kg hip thrust. It was during that month that I got 140 kg deadlift. Like my strength just went up. Like it was amazing. I loved it. And so I've actually incorporated it. And like I said, I was afraid of the water. Like I was afraid of not being hydrated. I've never been so hydrated in my entire life because during the eating window, I would focus on making sure that I'm still getting all the protein that I need and all of my other nutrients, and also drinking about 4 liters of water between 6 p.m. and midnight because I didn't like waking up at Fajr to eat. It wrecked me. I couldn't do that. So I would have my last or my first meal, my suhoor, I would have at midnight. So I would go to bed sometimes and my stomach was so full because I had so much water in it. But I've never been so hydrated in my life. And so I've actually incorporated, I always did intermittent fasting before, but then I've now incorporated some of those principles into my present day life. So during Ramadan, I actually cut down my caffeine. Before Ramadan, I was drinking 4 to 5 cups of coffee a day. A lot. I love coffee. It's just even the smell of it just relaxes my body. I love it. It's so great. But during Ramadan, I would just have that 1 cup at iftar, and then that was it. And now I still only just have 1 cup of
It's kind
coffee.
of regulated the caffeine intake that you were trying to as well cut down.
And then also before I was notoriously dehydrated. I didn't drink nearly enough water. And so now...
What's the secret of it? Like in Ramadan, drinking much more water, although people always have this concern that in Ramadan, you don't drink water. So for them, like you're going to be dehydrated in Ramadan.
Yeah.
But maybe it's the conscious thought. It's like you're proactively going and drinking water because you know that you need to stop after a bit. So you have that bottle of water and you keep on drinking the whole time.
Because you know you're not going to be able to have it later. So you need to make it a priority. And so that's also, we can tie that into my new system. I know that it's not going to do these things for me anymore automatically. I need to make it happen. And if I don't make it happen, then... it's not going to happen. So I need to do it. And then that just makes it even more important to me because it's not going to happen
alone by itself.
By itself. It doesn't happen on
Dawn,
what
about nutrition? You mentioned something that I always hear, that when you reach a certain age, you start accumulating belly fat. And you don't know the reason of it because you're still doing the same thing. You're still having the same lifestyle. You're eating the same thing. And then suddenly your body is not functioning how it's supposed to, how it was functioning. What about nutrition? What is the secret?
Common. I think every single menopausal woman has said this. I don't know what's going on, but I'm eating the same, I'm training the same, and yet I'm getting fatter, especially around the belly. This is something that I address in Moxie Menopause. So Moxie Menopause is a online program that I've developed based on everything that I've studied. It's a 12-week program. Every week we have basically a module. I call it a Moxie Minute. Instead of dumping a whole bunch of information on you and then it's like, okay, so we're going to like just change everything in your life all at once right now and have like just 6-week transformation. I've spread it over 12 weeks. And then we do little bits and we add little bits in and we understand the science. Because for myself, I like to understand why. I'm not just going to do it because you told me that it's healthier to do it this way. Why? Well, when I understand what's actually happening in my system, then it makes it easier to then make these different decisions. Now, all of a sudden, I'm not saying no to something. I'm saying yes to a better life, you know? So nutrition is a big one. So we start with that at the beginning. And basically, it's 12 weeks of mentoring of nutrition through the whole thing. And then these added other things along the way. So it compounds. So it's not like we learn one thing at the beginning and then we forget about it and move on to the next one. No, we learn this thing.
It's like changing your lifestyle slowly for you to be able to get used to it.
Exactly.
Over weeks. So it's not all of a sudden you're a different person and you need to stop everything.
Because we are busy women. We have so much stuff going on. We have the kids who are relying on us. We have our jobs, our careers. We have everything else. And also, as menopausal women in this age group that we're at, we also have aging parents that we're taking care of. Then we have our kids. They're growing up and starting to like launch off into being adults. They need support then still. And then we have our body that's changing. And then all of a sudden, I'm supposed to start changing all of my routines and how I'm doing stuff. It's too overwhelming.
What is the reason of this accumulation of body fat or belly fat?
Well, it's a lot of things. One of them is because of, I could talk about this forever, but a lot of it is the hormone changes. And as we start getting estrone, so estrone is the weaker estrogen, it is actually made in the belly fat. And so as we start losing estradiol, our body is going to want to create more belly fat in order to, at least we get this weaker one. We want estrogen because I still have estrogen. I just have the weak form of estrogen called estrone. And so my body likes to create it, and it creates it in the belly fat. Stress is also one. Gut health is also another one. And this is also why when we, and I'm doing really short versions here, in Moxie Menopause, we talk about it quite extensively. But in the microbiome, if we have the bad bacteria, so there's good bacteria, bad bacteria, just to make it as simple as possible. Good bacteria, bad bacteria. The bad bacteria starts getting out of control. It'll start asking for more sugar all the time. And also this bad bacteria, it doesn't matter what you eat. You could be eating lettuce all day, every day, and you'll still gain fat. Because whatever you bring in, it's going to store it as fat because that's what it likes doing.
Exactly. And this is the importance of the Moxie Menopause program, because it's not you eating lettuce all day. It's not you going on 500 calories per day and you're not seeing any results.
No.
I took a look at the programs as well. You're asking women to eat properly, to eat good food.
And often it's eating more than they've ever eaten before. And they're like, and again, like girl weights, girl food. Oh, we're supposed to eat no, what are you talking about? I eat like a man. Well, I actually eat like I'm nourishing my body. I nourish my body appropriately. So it's not just about we do need to get enough protein in, absolutely. Most women notoriously not eating enough of it. But on top of that, then we also need to be eating enough fiber in order to process that protein properly. So we need to have, and I've worked with women who are carnivores or eating their protein from animal sources, and I've worked with women who are vegans, and we're able to get them to be eating enough protein that then what happens is those energy slumps that we get and we think, this must be menopause and I have this brain fog and all of these things, all of that stuff starts to clear out. Why? Because I'm nourishing myself properly. Then we're going into the gym or we're doing the strength training. Then we're getting that boost in the mental health and the brain function. And then all of a sudden all that starts going away, right? And then everything, there's not just one thing. It comes all together. There's all these different aspects that it's like a watch. So you open up the back of a watch and there's all these little dials, but they all work together so intrinsically and in harmony. They work and there's such delicate little pieces, but if you got rid of one of those delicate little pieces, the watch isn't going to work properly anymore. And that's the way it is with this as well. So we can't get away with the behavior that we used to get by with when we were with estradiol, because estradiol, I like to call her the little mummy hormone.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So she goes behind our backs. She cleans up everything. It's like, you're going to make a mess. That's fine.
It's the shift that you do to the lifestyle, and once you understand your body more, and once you get those tips and tricks from you, you'll be able to let's say progress the way you want to progress, and you'll be much stronger, much healthier. Even mental health is gonna be a game changer for your mental health as well. Dawn, honestly, I'm very grateful that you gave me the time today to sit with me and talk to me about this.
I feel like we could talk here for 12 hours.
Same here. And I'm very happy, and I'm so proud of everything you do, and I'm so proud of how you chose to reflect and to reflect all of this passion in a program that is not only fitness coaching, let's say, or strength coaching. It's more giving hope and empowering women.
Yes.
And it's more about debunking what women are being told constantly. giving hope, and you're giving a lot of positive, you're making a huge positive impact on the lives of the women that are around you by just being you, by just showing up as Dawn at the gym, by singing, laughing, joking around, lifting weights. And it honestly, it makes my heart really happy to see that women can be that, and women should not be this person that grows older and they don't know what to do with themselves. Right. So I'm very, very happy that I have you today here. Thank you for everything. Thank you for all the insights that you gave us. I can have this conversation with you forever, definitely. But just one last thing. I really want you to end this by a message to all the women that feel that it's too late for me to start.
Wow.
Because I told you, before having this conversation together, I was talking to a group of girlfriends, and they were telling me that my mom would always say, like, in this age, like, where will I start? It's just too late for me to start. So I really want to leave this conversation by a message from you, from the heart, to every lady and woman out there that thinks that it's too late.
Well, for one, it's never too late. Also, menopause is the best era of my life. I've never felt so good in my life. And I know that there is nothing special about me. I'm not some sort of elevated other species. I'm a regular woman, just like everybody else. I have heart disease, diabetes, morbid obesity in my family. So I'm just a human being like everybody else. I'm working with the same system. I want every woman to feel as strong and good and amazing in her body. I want every woman to be tapping into her power era. And there is no start date that's too late. Today is the best day to start.
Thank you so much, Dawn. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching. The most powerful stories come from the ones we see every day. Not every journey is loud. Some are quiet, raw, and still changing lives. This is Unformed, where real stories unfold.